everybody, welcome to Kitchen Talk with Granna. I am so glad you guys can come up in the kitchen with me today and spend a little time with me today. But before we get started, you guys know what the routine is. You know what it is. Go ahead, take care of that. Look down at the bottom of your screen and take care of that thumbs up button. Take care of that share button. If you have not become a follower of Granna and this is your first time watching my video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and become one of my followers, okay? I would love to have you. Okay, hope everybody's having a great day out there today, enjoying this nice weather and just living your best life. All right, so let's get this conversation going up into the kitchen today. All right, today I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about Mr. John Lewis, okay? Mr. John Lewis, Congressman of Atlanta in Georgia, passed away over the weekend. And first of all, I just want to say condolences to his family, and I hope that you know, his family is doing okay with his passing. When I heard about Mr. John Lewis passing, of course, I thought back to a few months ago. I was watching the movie Selma, and I thought about all that he has done. I mean, this is a legend. We have just lost a legend, a part of history. This man fought his whole life. We know as from the age of 18 when he met Dr. Martin Luther King and started that journey with Dr. Martin Luther King with the march and the protesting and the back and forward that they went through just to get us the right to vote. You know, he was a big part in us becoming able to vote. You know, he was right there. He was beaten, he marched, he rallied, he spoke out. This man did everything that he could to make the human life better, you know, to bring us the freedom to vote, the freedom to speak, and just being, having the freedom to be who we are, to be recognized for who we are. I mean, it's just unbelievable the things that this man went through and how deep his belief was for the humankind, that he took these punishments and he took this torture and he lived through it. He lived through it. He lived to continue for the next 80 years, you know, for 80 years of his life. This is what his main focus was fighting for our human rights. You know, I don't understand if you sit back and watch this man's life and what he went through, what Mr. Lewis went through. I do not understand why we as human beings would not open up our eyes and see what people have fought and lost their life on just for us to vote, be able to vote. So if this doesn't open up your eyes and you don't sit back and reflect on Mr. Lewis' life and all the things that he went through for us, then I don't know what it's gonna take. You know, it didn't open up the eyes for a lot of people when Dr. Martin Luther King was murdered and he lost his life for simply fighting for our life and our rights. And you know, everyone in between there that has lost their life, it did not open up the eyes of America. And you know, all this stuff that's been going on for the last few months. I mean, even Mr. Lewis, as late as back in June, he was still doing everything he can to shed light on the right thing for us. I mean, this man just a month and a half ago, went to where they had made this memorial, or had made this Black Lives Matters, and he went there and stood there, you know, looking at that. You know, even when he was probably still suffering through his health issues, he did not let that stop him. He still continued on up until his last day. He continued on to march forward and to do the right thing for humankind, for all of us. You know, it was not about just trying to get the right thing done for us as African American. He was about all races, all people. He was about the people. You can just see from his life story and looking back on the history that they have shown us where he was involved, that this was a caring man, this was a loving man, this was a man that just wanted to do the right thing. So it's very sad when anyone lose their life, but it's really sad that everything that this man has done, up until his death, that we don't take into account of what our forefathers has put in place or has lost their life and thought about. I mean, come on, if you watch the movie Selma and you see how they was beat just for trying to go across a bridge back in the 60s, and the people beat them because they had no heart and cared nothing about them and was all against what they was trying to protest for. They wanted so badly to keep us from having the right to vote that they took it upon themselves to try to take lives. They did take some life. They took some of the lives of the people that was involved with this march. And at that time, I believe Mr. Lewis was his early 20s, 19 to early 20s, when he was doing that march with Dr. Martin Luther King. And these days you look at the younger generations out here, and young generations, they don't see that. They don't see that. We have protests going on now for Black Lives Matters. I'm hoping and praying that it continue to stay nonviolent as much as possible, because that was definitely not the message that Mr. Lewis preached or Dr. Martin Luther King preached. They was all about nonviolent and letting your voice be spoken. This man spent 45 times he was arrested, simply arrested because he was trying to do the right thing. I mean, that is just crazy. That is just so crazy. I don't know what it's going to take for us to look back on our legends, because Mr. Lewis is a legend, and see their footsteps and what they left and what they started and tried to finish. What is it going to take for us to pick up that torch and finish their journey? Finish what they started and just try to do the right thing. Don't look at people for the color of their skin. Look at them for what's inside their hearts. Look at them as a human being and not at the color of their skin. Mr. Lewis was back there when they had the signs up saying colored folks here, white folks here. He experienced all that. He had a chance to experience that. And throughout his life, he's made speeches, and he had a chance to see change come about. But he always stated that there was more change to come. And we was gonna have to continue on this fight. We was gonna have to continue to do it if we wanted to continually to see change coming upon us. I don't know what it's gonna take. We have so much that's going on right now. We still have people that has hatred in their heart. We still have people that just do not want to see the right thing done, or do not want us to come together as one. They don't want to see the human race be one race, just that, one race. They continually want to separate us. They continually want to brutalize us. They continue wanting to keep us down. They continually wanting to keep the knee on our neck. So, this young man started his journey at 17, 18 years old, and he walked that path up until his last day here with us. He just did what he thought was right. He was all about freedom. He was all about taking care of the humankind. You know, I don't know how many of us could have even go through some of the things that they went through back then in the 60s and 50s, you know, go through just simply being spit on because you're sitting at a counter. You know, you're sitting at a counter that says for white folks only. You're trying to break that barrier. So you go in and you sit down at this lunch counter and you're being spit on. You're being, having hot coffee poured on you. You know, I don't know how many of us could take that. You know, how many of us could sit there and stay humble while someone is doing this to you for no reason, just doing it out of hatred because they don't want to break those barriers. They don't want them to be broke. You know, I don't know how many of us could just do half of the things that his generation did, that Mr. Lewis and his generation went through. I don't know what it is, you know. You know, we as people have to honor Mr. John Lewis by picking up that torch and marching on and voicing our opinion and going out come November. We have got to go out and honor him in November. That's the best way we can honor his legacy, is to be there in November when it comes time to vote, because that was one of the main things that we know Mr. Lewis for fighting for our rights to vote. So we're gonna have to step up, go to the poll on November the 3rd, and do this in honor of Mr. John Lewis. You know, show him that we are here. We learned something from his lesson. We learned something from the history that he started all those years ago. We learned from what him and Dr. Martin Luther King and all the other people that was involved in that march, we learned from them. And we're gonna pick up this torch and we're gonna continue to move on, and we're gonna continue to vote and put our voice out there through voting, you know, and make a change that way. You know, we gotta do it, you know. It's nothing wrong with protesting. It's nothing wrong with voicing your opinion when it comes to Black Lives Matters and our people being killed through police brutality. But that's not the only thing we need to be focusing on. Yes, that is great. We're doing that. That's great. But we need to focus on the voting. We need to focus on taking care of our elderly. We need to focus on being kind to people. You know, all those things was a part of what Mr. Lewis taught and preached about. So those are things that we need to continue to do. You know, we need to do that for this legend. He was and is a legend, and we need to honor him that way. You know, we just need to do it. We need to continue to do it. You know, so I just wanted to put a little bit of that out there. And I mean, you all can always go back and read about Mr. John Lewis, you know, the mark that he made on this world of ours. You can read about it. You can go back and watch the movie Selma. He played a big part in that movie. And you can see his struggle that he went through with just him himself, and understand, you know, why he did what he did. If you're not knowledgeable of it, and there's still a lot of things I need to learn about it myself, but you can just go back and find that information and read about it. You know, so rest in peace to Mr. John Lewis. My condolences to his family. And I am just asking everybody out there in my voice that can hear my voice, just remember come November to go and vote for the rights that you have that was given to you by Mr. John Lewis, through Mr. John Lewis being beaten, being tortured, being thrown in jail 45 times. Go and show him how much you appreciate what he went through, okay? Do that, okay? All right, guys, I'm gonna get on up out of here, because I can talk about Mr. John Lewis all day, but I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. But you guys have a great day. Be kind to everybody you come in contact with, and make sure you're still wearing your mask and you're being safe out there. And I'm gonna catch you guys next time around, okay?